Good morning. Can I have a drum roll, please? And the reason is that I just got some exciting news to bring to you. Like I was promised you on the earlier video, especially our first video regarding to heart attack. What is a heart attack? I share with you my blood work. And even though I prefer to have another blood work 6 months from my initial blood work, but I do have a presentation coming up this Thursday. As a result, I try to expedite it. And within this 3 months, I just want to see how my blood work was. So as you can clearly see, this is my old blood work that we took in January. And very important that you try to go to the same place and also try to get the blood test done at the same time. So as you can clearly see, the report for this one, it was on January the 18th, 2025. And I went to CPL and Dr. Alex is the one who ordered this blood work for me. Even though we have about 50 or 60 of biomarker tests, I'm just gonna go over with you the high or the low, and then just a few tests that I wanted to go over with you that is important. At that time, I was weighing 155 pounds, okay? And now, here's my new results. This was basically reported on April 3rd of 2025. Same lab and almost at the same time. I took it during my lunch break. So like I said, my weight now is 142 pounds. So guess what, guys? I lost about 13 pounds just basically from January the 18th until today, which is April 8th, 2025. It's not that hard. What I've been doing so far is this, and I try to keep it very simple so I can share this with you. So the biggest thing that I'm doing differently is I'm doing what's called intermittent fasting. After 8 p.m., I don't eat anything else until the next day, 12:30 p.m. So in between time, the most important thing that we needed to do is stay hydrated. The first couple weeks was a little bit tougher. I got a little bit hungry, and which is very normal, but at the same time, your hunger hormone called ghrelin basically only lasts about 30 minutes. So during that first 2 weeks, just basically drink a lot of water until 12:30. That's my eating window. So what I'm doing is basically is that for 16 hours, I don't eat anything. Because of that also as well, of course, I do some caloric restriction because I only eat at 12:30 and I only eat at 6:30 p.m. for dinner. So therefore, I try to avoid eating anything after 7 p.m. So that's typically what I've been doing the past 3 months, and that's what has improved my blood work. I'm very, very surprised. At the same time, I know that I was able to do it. And more importantly, I know that, hey, I'm gonna be able to control my metabolic marker by just making that one changes, and that is intermittent fasting and basically watching my calorie intakes. So for today, what I want to share with you was some of the results that was not normal. So the first one was my hemoglobin. As you can clearly see, the one that we took in January was 17.1, which is a little bit high. Now with this new results, my hemoglobin is only 16.3. So now it's within its normal range. How? Well, hemoglobin is really important to deliver oxygen from the lung to your body. So what I did differently was I just got more active during the last 3 months. And that is I try to do a lot of walking after lunch and also a lot of walking after my dinner to help my carbohydrate metabolism. So I put in about 7,000 steps a day. So that's one thing. As a result, when I do that, my hemoglobin is being utilized basically throughout my body, especially my muscle for oxygen. So that's one of the reasons why it went down. Also, the other reason why it went down is I start hydrating a lot, like I was telling you. Based on my weight, I need about 70 ounces of water a day. So therefore, I need about 4 16-ounce bottles of water a day. So I've been starting to drink a lot more water. Now, the lipid panel, which some of you may be alarmed, which is very normal so. But remember, why is it heart disease still number one causes of death? And the reason is because we are focusing on just one marker back then. And based on the Framingham study, they focus so much on LDL. Yes, LDL is important, but remember I was sharing with you, heart attack we got to find out the root causes of a heart attack, and that is the inflammation of the artery. So when it comes to the inflammation of the artery, it's not because of the LDL, but it's because of other factor that damaging your blood vessel lining. So for example, when there's a house fire, typically who do you see basically to try to get those house fire basically down? You see firefighter, correct? So every time you see a fire, basically there's firefighter. So that's exactly what I'm trying to share with you. The firefighter did not cause the accident. So when it comes to a plaque forming, the LDL is the firefighter. So whenever you see some damaged artery, that's when you start seeing LDL. So when plaques form, that's when you start seeing LDL. Unfortunately, that's all we've been focusing since 1950. And why is it that heart disease is still #1 cause of death? So I wanted to share with you that before you get so concerned with my cholesterol and with my LDL. So the cholesterol that we took back in January was 274. Okay, triglyceride is 190. My HDL is 48. And my LDL is 189. Here's the new results. My new cholesterol level is 281, which is still high. And my old result was 274. My LDL cholesterol was 203 now versus before it's 189. Okay? I'm not too concerned about my elevated cholesterol, and I'm not too concerned about my LDL, and here's the reason why. I was very excited to see that my triglyceride level has gotten better and my HDL cholesterol has gotten better. So for now, my triglyceride level is only 129, which the normal range is less than 150. And my HDL cholesterol now is 51, and you want anything above 39. So here is the reason why my cholesterol and my LDL is probably elevated from my January test. Is because I lost about 13 pounds. As a result, when you lose that kind of weight within the past 3 months, it has to go somewhere, correct? So now it's in my bloodstream. Because I'm not giving it enough time to basically get rid of it and also normalize it. So that's why my LDL and my cholesterol level is a lot higher. Okay? Because I lose body fat. I lost about 13 pounds. The good thing about this lipid panel test now is my triglyceride level is down and my HDL level is good. Triglyceride, that is a very important marker for carbohydrate intakes. If you eat a lot of carbohydrate and you have excess calories, that's where you're going to start seeing your triglyceride level being very high. Or if you eat a lot of fructose or high corn fructose syrup, you're going to have an elevated triglyceride, especially in the liver, the fatty liver. So triglyceride level is what I really wanted to see improve. And also, once you improve that, you will also improve what's called your HDL, which is your good cholesterol. So as you can see, both of those two numbers are much better. And that's one thing that I was so excited to see. Yes, even though my cholesterol level was a little bit higher, but even though my LDL was a little bit higher, but with time, my body should be able to get those two numbers down, especially if I continue doing what I'm doing right now. The next one I wanted to share with you is my hemoglobin A1C. In January, remember, it was at 6.3, which is very high. Now, my hemoglobin A1C is 5.9. I have no doubt that my hemoglobin A1C will be better based on my diet and lifestyle, and here I am. I'm showing to you. You can change this number by changing your diet and changing your lifestyle. So as you can see, it's almost at its normal range. My goal is to be less than 5.6. So my next blood work will probably be 6 months from today. The next one is insulin. My insulin level is 8 in January. Now it is 10. I wasn't too happy with this, but then at the same time, it's still within my normal range. And the reason why now my insulin level is a little bit higher too, because I'm stressing my body. I'm stressing my body by fasting, and I'm stressing my body by having a lower caloric intake for this past 3 months. So as a result, that's why my insulin level is a little bit higher than the one in January, but it's still in its normal range. My goal is to have my insulin level to be at 5. Insulin level is one of the most important blood work that you have to get your doctor to check. Insulin level, if your insulin level is too high, even though your glucose and your hemoglobin A1C is normal, it's just a matter of when that you're going to become diabetic. So what I want to share with you is the insulin blood work is one of the most important marker that you can test for metabolic condition. As a result, request that test next time. If your insulin level is 30, 40, or 50, that's very high. And even though your level is at that number, your glucose and your hemoglobin A1C can be normal. It's just a matter of when that you're going to become diabetic. It could be 5 years from now, or it could be 10 years from now. So get your insulin level checked. And if you want to burn fat, if your insulin level is high, you will never burn fat. You will never lose your belly fat, especially. So check your insulin level. Once you check your insulin level, we can basically make some recommendation for you to be able to make that changes. So insulin is one of the most important blood work that you have to check. And most family doctor will not check that. You know why? They don't have one single drugs to help lower down that insulin. Insulin is lowered by intermittent fasting and caloric restriction. That's how you're going to be able to lower down the insulin number. My next blood work is vitamin D. Back in January, my vitamin D was 26. That's very low. You want it to be above 30. But now, here's my vitamin D level is at 57. I almost double it. How? I know I wasn't exposing the sun enough, and if I expose the sun, I probably put sunblock or some kind of SPF 15, so I'm not absorbing enough sun. So this is what I take. I utilize a company called NutriWest, and this is complete H1D3. And in the beginning, when I got my result in January, I didn't realize how low it was. That first week, I took 2 pills, which is 10,000 IU of vitamin D. After 2 weeks, I've only been taking 1 pill, which is 5,000 IU. And as a result, look at my vitamin D level. It's at 57. Vitamin D is so important. Get that vitamin D checked. Vitamin D is so important for your immune system. Vitamin D is so important for your hormone. Vitamin D is so important for your mood. So if people are going through depression or anxiety, you have to get that checked. If you get sick a lot, that means that your immune system is not working well. It could be that you're a deficiency in your vitamin D, or if people having autoimmune issues such as Hashimoto or rheumatoid arthritis, it's probably because you don't have efficient number of vitamin D. Also, vitamin D is very important for your blood pressure too. You could lower down your blood pressure by having adequate vitamin D, because vitamin D helps supports the kidneys, so therefore it doesn't go through a loophole where it basically causes blood pressure to go up. So if you have enough vitamin D, it can also help your blood pressure too. So my next blood work that I wanted to share with you is my homocysteine. Well, my homocysteine at that time in January was at 12, which is high. You want it to be less than 12. My newest one is the same. It hasn't changed, 12. So what does that mean? I need to start taking some methylated form of B vitamin, B6, B9, and B12. So therefore, starting in April, I would be taking this right here. It's called homocysteine redox. What does it has in here? It has in here a methylated form of B9, methylated form of B12, and also it has other B6 and magnesium and zinc and selenium also as well to lower down my homocysteine. Get that homocysteine checked. That's another blood work that most family doctors don't check. And homocysteine plays such an important role in the primary causes of inflammation of your arteries. Why? It could damage your arteries, and it also could affect your nitric oxide. So your nitric oxide is so important to relax your blood vessel. And also homocysteine is really important for other health and basically metabolic, like neural tube defects. And the best way to do this is because I'm not eating adequate B9 and B12, but more importantly, most people are taking B vitamin, but they are not taking the methylated form. What does it mean by methylated? It's designed in a way that it's going to be the most active, so therefore you can absorb and break down your homocysteine. So guys, as you can clearly see, I made a lot of changes. I made a lot of improvement just within this 3 months. And look at the biomarker, especially for my inflammatory markers, is improved. So guys, the only way that we know that to make some diet and lifestyle changes is that we have to get some blood work. Once you have that blood work, then we can know what we needed to do. So I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing, which is intermittent fasting, and also at the same time, basically also walk. Very important to walk, especially after a meal. I know this video is a little bit longer, and the reason why it's a little bit longer, I also want to share with you more detail how my blood result was compared from January to now April, which is almost 3 months. Ideally, I should have waited for 6 months, but because I have a presentation this week, I wanted to go ahead and get this blood work so I can compare it, and then at the same time so I can share what I did. I'm also available if you're here in this Arlington, Texas area, if you have a church or you have a speaking engagement or you belong to a network events that need to have a speaker, I would love to come out and share this message. Because my why is I can share this message, I can educate people, so therefore you, your family member, your friend, your loved one can prevent a heart attack. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.